Alrighty, welcome everyone to another episode of Dragon Heist. This wondrous tale of urban adventure will be streaming right here on Javelin Entertainment every Tuesday, starting at 6 p.m. Central. If you missed Chapter 6, you can find it on the channel page or by clicking in the playlist down in the description. Last time, our adventurers did a bit of investigating by traveling to the inn of the Crescent Moon in the Dock Ward, and talked with a very interesting Miss Luna. She shared stories about the city and her past, as well as giving Pat some information on the naughty Alice. Apparently, it had sailed up towards somewhere known as Lhazaar to find bones trapped within ice. Curious, Pats went to the Watermen's Hall to try and find where the ship had departed and realized that there are about 2 days that he doesn't seem able to account for. Luna also gave Durizen some information on locating Asper and departed and so they tried to look for a mansion owned by some sort of walrus-like man. They were able to find the mansion, but it seemed to be vacant. In trying to search for some answers, they found their way to a nearby nightclub known as the Crawling Spider, a subterranean haven for those with an affinity for darker places. After enjoying some exotic fruit and drink, they were able to get some information from the server. They then traveled to the market to try their luck at a magical mystery coin machine. Nadari went first, getting 4 small seeds as her prize. Durizen was also curious and received a rolled scroll with magical markings. Ezra, unable to avoid her curiosity as well, also tried, receiving a small ring. They then decided to check in at Blackstaff Tower and found that Vajra had determined a trial for them, to speak to a dragon. So they ventured with Vajra to a shipwreck outside the city. Ezra had a close call with a shark before the bronze dragon Calryssian came to her aid. They talked with this dragon and determined that he was no real threat to the city. And pleased, Vajra returned with them to the tower and paid them for their time, with a special bonus for Ezra. So now, you all find yourselves, as the evening has begun to press upon the city, the darkness of the night starting to come upon the streets and buildings around you, as you are slowly making your way across the city back towards Trollskull Manor after a very filled day. Is there anything that anyone would like to do before you return and take your rest for the evening?
Are all the shops closing up?
They have been closed for some time. By now, it's pretty late into the evening. The sun had set by the time that you had gotten back to the boat from talking with the dragon, and by the time you made it all the way back to Blackstaff Tower, it's a good 8 o'clock, if not slightly later. So the shops have been closed for some time, and it's now just kind of the late evening.
Okay, then Durizen definitely just wants to head back to
when we're heading back, and Daria's very much doting on Ezra being like overprotective mom kind of feel, where she's like, "How are you feeling? How's your side? Can you walk? Do you need help?" You know.
I will be okay.
Are you sure?
As long as I don't trip over my feet.
Bit by a shark. It looked like that hurt.
It didn't feel great, but Miss Vajra was very thorough and very helpful, and I'm glad she healed me up.
Yeah, she got the magic touch, and she got extra gold. How could she not be okay?
I was saving that up. That's going towards the manor. I'm done with that fantasy machine for now.
Yeah, I'd still like to find out what this piece of paper actually says.
Or what this ring does, if it does anything.
There's got to be somebody in the city that can identify items.
Maybe that's something for tomorrow. I'm getting a little tired.
Yep, I'm very ready for the night to be over. That broken cot upstairs is looking real nice.
Alright, so as you all make your way back across the city from the west side back to the east side and north into the north ward, you see as the manor comes into view. As the coolness of the spring night comes on to you all, you make it back to your home, rather. And after getting a few well-deserved meals and chatting some into the night, you all eventually find your way to your respective rooms, kind of resting on the makeshift or leftover beds that remain, and eventually drift off to sleep. The morning does come as the night is relatively uneventful. No distant spectral effects that seem to wake any of you up, and no other alterations.
No raccoons.
No raccoons.
Aw.
But yes, the morning does come upon you all. What would you like to do with your day?
Like I said, I would like to find somebody to figure out what this says. To know what exactly I purchased.
I want to spin the gachapon.
Oh, that's right, Pats. You need to get a turn too. Well, on our way to the market, I was going to suggest, Durizen, I was going to stop in and maybe see Rashal to see if he would know anything about my ring, or maybe he might know something about your scroll.
Well, that's a mighty
Potentially.
fine idea. I'd like to accompany you.
All right.
Does he know anything about growing
Seeds?
vegetables?
Well,
Well,
I mean,
first I think
he
you
knows
put
a
it in the
lot.
dirt.
Yes, but full sun, partial sun?
You
wanna
got 4
overwater.
of them.
Well, he
Do
does have
one
a
in one,
bookstore,
and the
too,
other in
so-
another.
might be able to read up on it if he doesn't know.
How invigorating. Worth the shot, I suppose.
All right. Well, let's go pay him a visit. He doesn't live too far. As long as it's not too early for him.
No, by the time you all wake up, you kind of eat breakfast and kind of relax in the manor enough until shops open. And most places open fairly early within the city, as it gets active at most times of the day. And so, Ezra, you kind of lead everyone as you begin to head over across the street to a very familiar the Bookworm's Treasure. It's kind of heading inside, you do find the various walls lined with different tomes, and you see the same elven woman behind the desk, and she kind of sees you and gives you a nod. Are you here for Master Rashal?
Yes, ma'am. Is he in?
He is. Would you like to speak to him?
Please.
I will go and let him know that you are here. Please
Thank
wait down
you.
here and make yourselves comfortable. Within a few moments after her departing, you kind of hear a commotion coming from up on the higher level. And shortly thereafter, the short, crouched golden dragonborn begins to hobble down the staircase and kind of makes his way over towards you all. Oh, it's good to see you, Ezra, and you brought your friends back. What can I do for you today?
Yes, good to see you too, Rashal. Have you been doing all right? Business
Doing
going
well,
good?
Doing well.
Okay, good.
Business
Well-
is quiet, but that's the way I like it.
Oh, well, it's good to have quiet days every now and then.
Indeed.
Yes. But, so my friends and I, we've kind of recently come into some supposed magical items that we're not really sure about what they do or what they are, some of them. Me, for instance, and she kind of like holds her hand up in front of her and shows Rashal. I acquired this ring, and she'll even take it off and show it to him, or hand it out or over to him.
It's quite beautiful. Where did you acquire this from?
Well, I don't know if you've been to the. Have you been to the market at all? kind of nearby? Do you take a jaunt out there?
I occasionally take a trip down in the early morn before most people are out.
Well, that'd probably be the smart thing to do. But, it was a shop called Kobold or Go Home. And,
Yes, Clemix.
Yes.
He's
that's
a good
the one.
friend.
Oh.
He isn't even a kobold, though. I don't get it.
Believe it is a play on words, my friend.
Not a good one.
Perhaps. Well, regardless, this ring, you think it has a purpose rather than just appearance.
Possibly? Clemic was very insistent that this machine he has connects people to the weave, so he said.
Ah. You mean the magical mystery coin machine? Yes, I suppose it does have some innate connection to the mystical weave. Though,
Impossible.
His belief that it is fated to come to you, I don't quite agree with, but it does sate the appetite for the curious. And so you obtained this ring from that?
I did, and all three of us, we were quite curious, to say the least. 4 of us, sorry.
Well, from time to time I do provide identification services for certain magical items, but since you are a friend, for this one I can provide it on the house. Please, let me take a look. It'll take me a few minutes. Feel free to take a seat or browse the shelves while you wait.
Sure, thank you very much. She'll kind of start perusing the shelves, looking around at book spines.
Are you looking for anything particular, just kind of looking around?
We'll kind of call Ezra over. Yeah, that's me. Dari. Call Dari over. Like, hey, come help me look up some books for farming. And she kind of gives her a little smirk and a wink.
I'm telling you, it's impossible. There's no way that had a connection with the weave.
Who knows? It could be magic.
You get a very grumpy, but grumpy frown, kind of a comical one. But she'll run over and peruse books with you, of course. And then you can see her too as she tries to reach up and get one of the books out of the shelves, but she's too short and she keeps jumping for it.
Oh, yeah, Ezra, let me help you with that. Definitely.
Alright, Ezra or Nadari, you guys, one of you go ahead and roll me an investigation check, just for fun.
Investigation? Where the heck is that? Oh, I'm looking right at it.
Did you say one of us?
Yeah.
You might be better suited for that than I.
Does it matter, or?
I just like all the pretty colors of the book.
No, just whoever wants to.
Woo!
Nadari, as you kind of look through these books, you see a few titles that kind of jump out you. One called Analects of War, another Deviant Celestia, Down the Drain, the Field Guide to Reproduction for Newly Awakened Creatures, but they are scattered throughout the different shelves here, and it's difficult to understand any particular order without having an understanding of where things are, and you're not able to locate anything that you think has relevance to farming.
Darn.
After you've done
maybe try cooking.
After you've done a brief kind of browsing, Rashal kind of speaks up from the couch where he's seated, kind of calls you over. Ezra, come. I believe I've determined at least the base enchantment upon this thing.
Oh, and she'll kind of scuttle over, lean in close.
Unfortunately, I believe you've been, well, if you believe in fate, fated into something quite unfortunate. This ring is what is known as a ring of contrast. Typically believed to be a cursed item, but some believe it to be a boon. Essentially what it does is it adjusts your physicality and your mentality. Where you were smart, you'd be less intelligent. Where you were unwise, you would now have the wisdom of kings. Were you weak before, you would have strength. Essentially reversing whatever your physical attributes may have been before. Tell me, have you felt any different since you've obtained this ring? Any weakness or slow movements?
Well, we did have a run-in with a shark and just the shark. The bronze dragon we just talked to, but we
Met a bronze dragon.
we did indeed. He's actually just out in the bay, just kind of hanging out in under a ship.
Well, you all
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend any fishing trips anytime soon.
Bronze dragons are usually harmless, but you all seem to be quite the eclectic lot, having quite many adventure already.
Yeah,
Certainly
this city
having-
sure is interesting.
Yeah, we're certainly having a time, that's for sure. But back to the shark. I mean, I was in the water, but I did see maybe felt a little slower or wasn't able to strike or hit as fast, and it did take a good chomp out of me. Which I'm fine now. We're good, but I don't know, that could have been the ring.
I would be cautious until you can find a way to remove such a curse. It will probably be laden over you. I expect from someone from your physique that over the next day or two you should start to feel the effects. Your muscles will slightly weaken, your speed may decrease slightly, but you may feel yourself becoming more mentally gifted than before.
Oh dear. Well, I'll definitely be on alert. I'll keep that in mind, thank you.
Of course, I wish I could deliver better news, but unfortunately I'm not an expert when it comes to curses. Perhaps you might be able to find a temple who could provide it for some sort of fee, unless you have anyone you know who is capable of such, but typically removing curses is not something that is affordable.
Right. I could imagine. Well, thank you, Rashal. I'll definitely keep all this in mind. This information was useful.
Of course, of course.
I'm a little more worried about this than I was before, but I would also like you to take a look at this if you don't mind not gouging the price too much. Durizen will pull out his paper.
Ah, this appears to be a spell scroll. Are you not familiar with Lacanic writing?
No, I can read the Draconic, but it doesn't make much sense to me.
He unfurls the parchment and kind of spends a moment looking at it.
It seems that this one is some sort of enchantment magic, specifically to be used on items that are already enchantment, though it carries a significant reward. It appears from the notes here in the margins. It has about a 50% chance of either enhancing an existing enchantment or removing it entirely.
I see.
I'm not
Thank
sure
you.
if you're a gambling man, but it could be useful.
Could be useful, definitely. How much do I owe you for the info?
Oh, this is just simple reading. No cost at all for a friend of Ezra's.
Thank you kindly. I'll have to think about if I'll use this on anything, or maybe I'll just sell it. We'll have to see. Durizen will put it back in his pocket.
Is there anything else that I can help you all with? Or is that all you would stop by for today?
You
As
don't
we're
have
kind
to know what this will grow, do you? And he just gently pinches one and sets it right on the table in front of him.
He
One of
kind
the
of
seeds.
he squints carefully and kind of rustles in his pocket and pulls out a small magnifying glass and kind of wedges it in between the scales around his eye to peer at it as he lifts up this seed too close to his eye and kind of begins to inspect it, turning it in different directions.
Well, I haven't seen anything quite like this. It appears physically similar to things such as lemons or orange seeds, but the coloration, it doesn't look rotted or disfigured in any way. Perhaps it is enchanted. Where did you find this?
Same place.
Ah, so the weave gifted you some seeds. Perhaps they wish
Yeah.
Perhaps it wishes to show you that you have some growth. Would you like me to
Yeah,
take a look and see if there's any magic latent on them?
Yeah, I'd like to have a word with the weave right about now.
Wouldn't we all?
He smiles and nods. If you wouldn't mind.
Of course. It'll take me about 10 minutes, but I should be able to let you know after that.
And he once again sets about to redo his magical ritual to identify the aspects and pull out the magical identifiers. Are you guys doing anything in the meantime, or just kind of waiting for him to conclude?
I'll put Cosmo out on the table and let him roam around, and yeah, I think that's about it. I'll kind of play with him.
Anyone else do anything?
Durizen's just gonna think about his new piece of paper.
Passage very idly look at the bookstore, seeing if there's anything interesting at all. Which there probably, unless there's a cookbook.
You were looking for what?
Let's say a cookbook of any,
And
or
just
some like exotic race,
cookbook or an exotic race. Okay. Go
or
ahead.
of an exotic race.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, go ahead and roll me an investigation check. All right. As you kind of look across the shelves, you don't find too many cookbooks. There kind of aren't many things that seem obviously to do with food. You find only a single tome, and kind of flipping through it, it does seem to be mostly words with a few sketched images. But it does seem to deal with culinary aspects in some regard. And the book is titled The Gourmet's Famous Eateries and Divine Journeys.
Hey, Dragon Man, how much for this food book?
I don't know.
The other Dragon Man.
I think he's busy.
Give me but a moment and I'll come take a look.
Alright.
What you got?
And as he concludes his ritual, he picks up the seed and moves back towards Nadari.
Well, these seeds seem to have some sort of conjuration around them. You need not plant them, but should you place or throw them into soil or rock, they should quite quickly grow into some sort of plant. It seems that there's a bit of randomness to it, and it is not a single plant, but rather a series of carnivorous herbal creatures.
You say... So if I throw this onto the ground, it just... Fascinating.
Indeed.
Well, I hope I don't hurt myself with this one.
Many of the things that the weave bestows through that machine are, have mixed uses, to put it kindly. I think Klimek just does it for the amusement, for the stories that come from it. But they are useful in their own way, when used with a creative mind.
Well, if it's stories that are provided from them, I suppose I could look at it in a different light. I've been quite tired of people either selling things or telling information, or... There's nothing behind it, no history, no storytelling, no nothing. You should have seen Zoblub's shop. Everything looks so interesting, and yet nothing. Just... That's a rock. That's just that. It sparkles. Like, no history. Not where he
But we
got it
did
from,
use it
not
to get
what it
away from a
does.
dragon.
Oh, that's true. So I guess we got a story in the long run, huh?
And now it has some history.
Boom.
Not everyone has appreciation for a long, drawn-out novel, or even a short story, but those who take the time, I've found, are far more capable of taking on this world.
Well, we're lucky that we're all here together.
Yeah. We seem to do pretty well together. We've made it through a couple of rough patches already.
And we've definitely gotten some stories to tell.
A few, say the
So
least.
it would seem. Well, is there anything else that I could do? Oh, you mentioned a book.
Yeah. This one. I show him the book.
Are you familiar with the gourmet?
The what?
The gourmet. He's a famous chef who has made his way around the Five Kingdoms and beyond. He's quite often regarded as the best chef in all of Faire.
Lofty title that one has.
Indeed. Though he's done well enough to earn it. Are you interested in culinary aspects yourself?
Yep, that's all I'm here for.
That
I
is
was-
an understatement.
I was the assistant chef on the Naughty Alice, and I was pretty dang good at it too.
I'm sure you were. Well, this book will certainly have many a handy hint or tip on how to improve your culinary expertise. Most of my tomes in here, including that one, sell for a modest amount. Only about 2 to 3 gold pieces. This one in particular,
He kind of inspects it, opening the label, and you can see kind of scrawled into the front of the opening page.
appears to be 2 gold pieces and 3 silver.
That's it?
Indeed.
I'll take it.
Well, I hope you can put it to good use.
He hands you the book as you hand over the coins to him.
I hope y'all are hungry for some good stuff tonight.
Oh, always.
Oh, well.
Sounds like you're gonna have to pick up some ingredients at the market.
Well, I do have that shark fin from yesterday.
That's true.
I better make good use of that.
And I still have that that large eyeball we got from the sewer. Been
So,
pickling it ever since.
no thanks.
And I have all the fruits stuff from the North Ward. I forget what it's called.
Are you sure that some of those might not be better in like a, I don't know, more potion or, you know, that
The
kind of
trash.
variety instead of dinner?
No.
Who knows? Maybe it's in the book.
I'll make
We'll see
sure
what
not to
Mr.
ask what
Gourmet
dinner
says
is
about
in a
all
few
these
days.
things.
Well, if those are our options for dinner, I'd really like to go to the market.
Well, I think that's where we're actually headed next. You still got your eye on that fantasy machine, Pat,
Of
after hearing
course.
all this?
Yeah,
Okay.
after you've seen our bountiful.
Oh boy.
I've never had this much gold for this long before. It's so heavy.
Let's get into
I
him. Let's go.
I like it, but I hate it. So let's just get
Yes.
this over with. Let me spin the wheel and be sad like you guys were.
Before we leave. Right as we're leaving, I'm gonna go to pick the seed back up, and as I'm doing it, stop Cosmo for trying to eat it.
Oh. Oh no.
No, and then I'll give him something else to eat, and then I'll have him crawl up in my sleeve.
Of course, you know, before we leave, Ezra will, you know, tell a big thank you to Rashal.
Of course,
As
come
they
back anytime. I always enjoy hearing your stories.
Oh, absolutely. You'll have to come on down to the manor for a visit one time. Maybe once it looks a little nicer.
Yeah, we still got a little bit of work to do with it.
I will most certainly plan on it.
Sounds lovely.
Alright, so as you all leave the bookworm's treasure, are you headed to the market, or was there something else that you wanted to do?
No, I think Durizen wants to head to the market and then maybe today head towards the monster district to check on the soup kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was in the field ward.
Yeah.
That's what it was called. Basically the North Ward.
I think that'd be a good use of our time.
Yeah.
Alright, so as you all begin headed back towards the market first, you see even at this hour it is indeed alive with different sights and sounds, and you all do in fact find that it is fairly easy to make your way through, not quite as crowded as it was previously in the middle of the day. Pats, if you would like, you can find your way back up to Kobold or go home, and Klimek is still there outside his shop.
Aw, yeah. I walk into the counter and I slap down my 50 gold. I want to spin the wheel.
Well, it's good to see you back. I knew I had captured your attention last time you were here. Though it's not so much of a wheel as it is a magical contraption connected to the very weave of fabric.
So it's a wheel. Okay, I get it. I want to spin it.
Very well.
He takes the gold pieces, sliding them back through his hands before producing the large silver coin, and out, apparating from magic, the twisting gears and mechanical contraption breaks forth from the plane in front of you, and you do see the open slot for the coin. And you can go ahead and roll me a d20 if you put the coin in.
Let's go. Let's go.
Oh boy.
Oh
Fun
man!
thing like me.
All right.
Oh, no.
I
As-
activated a trap card.
As the machine whirs to life once more, the gears twisting, the magic in top just pulsing, As it rumbles, the door opens, and a small, what almost looks like a water skin, slides out. Perhaps you are parched from your daily routine and need a bit of a quench in a magnificent style.
I was sure parched after that weird fish dust you sold me. I almost put it in my soup and it almost ruined it.
Well,
Yeah.
I could not tell you what it did unless I took a moment to examine it. And of course, at a small fee. But how could I have known? I'm
You
sure
sell
it'll
it,
come in
you
handy.
bastard.
I sell the method to access what fate and the weave determine you need. I do not sell the items in particular. Though again, if you are interested in determining the nature of your item, I can, for a small fee, provide you insight.
Well, you didn't offer that, but I was in. Never mind.
Well, you never asked. I'd be happy to take a look at them now, if you would like. You were given seeds, yes?
Maybe I'll just throw one and see what happens.
By all means.
She debates throwing one in the middle of the shop, but doesn't do it.
That Ezra's giving Dari a very nervous side eye.
Senses the trouble that Andori is thinking about. How do you acquire these items?
Again, I do not acquire anything. At least for the magical mystery machine. The other items are bought and sold, traded by different adventurers and wanderers who travel all across the country and far beyond to bring me extravagant treasures and even more extravagant stories.
Well, I am a woman of who enjoys quite the intriguing stories, and if it's not something that you acquire, then how does it work?
What do you mean in particular? The magical mystery machine or these items around me?
The machine, of course.
Oh, the
You said
machine
those
is...
were bought and sold, but
The
this
machine
is different.
an invention of my own creation. A way of accessing the weave itself. The coins are a catalyst which connects you to the very weave and produces whatever fate may determine is what you need at that very moment. I know not why or what they are to do, I know not how they should work. But whatever it is determined by the weave that is to be your purchase.
Ah, so it's the coins then that turn into these things?
Not exactly. The coins are an access point, providing a connection between you and your own power within you to the weave that spreads through us all. The coin is a connector of sorts, accessing your information and transporting it to the very heart of the weave, and in response, the weave produces whatever it deems you are worthy of.
Well, now you have me intrigued to see what would come out if you decided to play.
That would be quite intriguing indeed. Unfortunately, playing myself would not make much sense.
I bet people would pay to watch, though.
I mean, who would not want to watch the marvelous Clemic do anything? People gather from miles around just to come and see me in my shop.
I suppose so. Maybe something you'll have to think about for future investment.
Indeed. Is there anything else that I can help you all with today? Anyone want to try their luck once more?
Can you tell me more about this, the wineskin that I opened, or the water skin? Like, is it actually filled? Can I tell that it's filled?
As you kind of pick it up, it does seem to have some weight to it. It seems to be a pretty basic leather water skin, that does seem to have liquid within it.
Okay, I'm gonna pour some out of my hand. Just a little bit.
Sorry, 1 second. I'm gonna sneeze. Ooh, sorry about that. As you kind of reach down and pour out this liquid, you watch as at least what seems to be water pours out onto your hand. Doesn't seem to be color, doesn't really seem to sparkle or anything special.
Alright, I drink whatever landed on my hand. No fear.
Alright, as you kind of lift it up and go ahead and take a sip, you kind of process. It's water, it's somewhat old and flavorless, lukewarm. Begins to kind of roll through your mouth and down your throat. Nothing especially seems to happen.
Did I really just pay 50 gold for a water skin? With old weave water?
And as you kind of process and think about this, you start to get upset, aggravated. The general circumstance is just frustrating. And you suddenly feel an urge to do something about it. Something terrible, something unfortunate, something to grab attention. There's got to be some way for you to get back at this silly circumstance.
How about... I'm gonna say I have my bag of beans on me way back in session 1. I'm gonna take a bean and I'm gonna try and surreptitiously plant it underneath whatever table he's working out of and water it with the magic water just to see what happens.
Oh goodness. Okay.
Oh, okay.
You did this to me.
So you are pulling out one of your magical beans and placing it under the table and then watering it with the water from the water skin.
Yes, 'cause I have no other water on me.
Oh.
Oh, ho, ho. Patch, what you doing over there?
I'm mad, okay? I paid 50 gold pieces, $50 dues.
Yeah, I
water
told you it might be dumb.
Yeah, and it was dumb. So I gotta do something about it.
What's planting a bean gonna do?
I don't know. It'll do something.
Durizen's gonna step back.
As you kind of step back and watch Durizen, this being kind of placed in the dirt begins to slightly rumble and kind of twist and turn, and slowly it begins to grow and expand, and like an extremely quick plant, it pops out of the ground.
Wait, is this mine?
No.
Oh.
As this pops out of the ground, and you suddenly realize it's not a plant at all, but rather a series of ovular objects that almost appear like eggs. And there appear to be about 6 of them arranged on the ground.
Oh, what have you done over there, Pat? What sort of bean gets eggs?
I'm not gonna lie, I really thought this would be more dramatic.
Well, I don't know. Poke one of them. They alive?
I'm gonna poke it.
You poke it, nothing seems to happen.
Is it like... It actually feels like an egg, it doesn't just look like an egg?
Yeah, are these like insect eggs or like chicken
Like
eggs?
chicken eggs? Rock eggs?
They appear larger than chicken eggs, roughly about the size of your hand. They're sort of a bluish gray color to them, and they're textured on the outside. But as you kind of poke them, they don't feel like rock or stone, and they appear somewhat like you would expect an egg of this size to feel like. It's odd though. It's not like any egg that you've seen before. Nothing like a chicken, or definitely nothing like a fish or an insect.
Okay. Can my rage be abated? Can I be curious about these eggs now?
If you would like.
Perfect. Ooh. So are they like... Can I pluck them? Or are they like attached?
As you
to
kind
the
of
ground,
look, they do
I'm like-
seem to be attached with a tiny membranous green cord down to where they grew out of the bean.
So not very pluckable at the moment?
I mean, you could try and pull them free, but they do seem to be currently attached.
Alright, I'm going to try and pluck the egg.
Alright, give me a strength check.
Perfect. -1!
You kind of pull and pull and pull, and you can see it stretching underneath, but your muscles just aren't quite strong enough to get it to actually break free. And you watch as the stem of this thing seems to kind of stretch out, and it stretches maybe about a foot and a half as you have it lifted up off the ground, but you kind of finally release, and it goes limp and once again kind of drops down to the ground. And you all watch as Pats is breathing heavy and a bit of sweat starting to form on his brow.
Okay, well,
You,
those are some weird eggs.
Want some help there, Pats?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna take one of these off.
Here.
Yes, please. I am very
Here,
curious about what
I'll
these are.
lift it. You cut off this nasty shit.
I need these bean
What
eggs.
in the world?
I don't know.
Don't ask questions, just cut the beans.
Do one of us need to make another strength check? Either.
Are you guys
Durizen or
cutting?
I?
Are you guys cutting the beans, or are you trying to?
Durizen's
pull them
gonna
free?
pull it up and then let someone cut the taut, whatever green snot
Oh.
stuff it is.
I see. Sure, I'll cut it.
Durizen will pull.
All right, as you kind of pull it up, Ezra kind of gets down, and with the blade, it's very easy to cut through, like cutting through the stem of a plant, and the egg comes free.
Is it heavy? I'm
It's-
holding this egg.
It's got some weight to it. It's maybe like a pound.
Okay. Well, all right. Here you go, Pats. We'll hand it off. Hand it off to him. What do you think?
I have absolutely no idea what I think about all this.
Well, here, let's get the
I
rest
came
of
here to
them.
spin the wheel,
Yeah,
and now I
might
have
as
some
well.
bean eggs.
I'll help Durizen cut the rest of them off.
All right, as you go through and cut through each one, all of them come free without any problems, and you have 6 of these large blue-gray eggs.
Oh boy.
Well, dinner sure is gonna be interesting tonight.
Let me just add that to my inventory.
6 eggs. That's too expensive.
And
Hey,
then
Austin.
Yes.
angry waters.
You said there's a way I can turn this down and roll 20. I cannot figure it out.
If you go to the gear, and up at the top you'll see Master Music Volume Level. You should be able to adjust that.
I was doing that earlier and it didn't do anything. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Alright, so Pats, with your arms laden with these eggs, what would you all like to do?
Well, I want to go home and put these up. I don't want to carry all these eggs. Unless I can get like a satchel, just carry these around with while we do our other business. Do we have any other business?
Yeah, we were going to the soup kitchen.
Ah, yes. Well, we
Holmes,
can drop. We
on the
can
way
drop
back.
these.
They're on the way
Yeah,
back.
we can drop these off while we're there.
Perfect.
Maybe keep one with us just to see if it does anything.
That is excellent idea.
Or if it hatches.
Yeah.
That is an even Scarier idea.
These eggs came from a bean. I'm not too sure about just leaving
And the
them.
beans came from my anti-gob.
I'm not sure if I'm more or less concerned.
Yes.
More concerned.
Hey, she only ever gave
Oh,
me the best
something.
beans.
Have you ever turned into eggs before?
I've never planted them. So no.
Oh. Wait, were we gonna eat these?
Maybe.
Yeah, forget I
Guess
asked.
we'll
I
find
mostly
out.
just want to.
Rule number one.
I
Don't
just
ask.
want to mess with that smug fellow over there, but that feeling has passed. Oh yeah, you probably shouldn't drink that water. It made me feel weird.
Maybe it's just old water.
I've drank a lot of water in my day. A lot of island water, mountain water, sea water, but nothing has ever made me as angry as that. All right, maybe the sea water a couple times, but not like that.
Not
Alright.
Giardia.
Well, I'm not gonna be stealing your wine pouch anytime soon then.
I think you'd be
And
doing
then-
me a favor if you did take it. We might want to go see the dragon guy again, the bookworm. See if he can understand what the heck just happened.
We could definitely give Rochelle another visit.
Good idea. We can do that after we go to the soup kitchen.
Doesn't Rochelle live next door?
He is.
Oh, that works too.
Well, watching that performance definitely just made me a little nervous on throwing these.
We'll have to do it in a big open area.
Hey, those are seeds, not beans. Completely different. You'll be okay. Probably.
She opens her mouth and sticks her finger out like she's gonna say something. And then she just shakes her head and moves on.
As you all are kind of standing there, a dwarf man with a big, ruddy brown beard and a shaved head is kind of stepped up in front of you and is kind of looking at Pats curiously.
Where'd you get those eggs? Are they for
I grew 'em.
sale?
Not
How much-
yet.
How much you want for them?
Do you know what these are?
They look interesting.
That they are.
I like things.
How much you
that
willing to
are
pay for them?
interesting.
He thinks for a moment.
I'll give you 10 gold apiece.
Hmm.
That- 10 gold apiece.
Ezra just raises her eyebrows and says nothing.
10 golden dragons for each of those eggs.
Hmm. The gold is like just as heavy as these eggs. I don't think that's worth it.
Oh, it's totally worth it.
But these are unique bean eggs. No one has ever eaten these before. Maybe. Who knows? I want to try them.
You could always sell some of them to the men.
How many eggs are there? 6, right?
Six, yeah.
6.
They,
And how
one of
many
them.
people do we have in our party? 4?
4.
Indeed.
All right. How about this? I'll sell you 2 of them.
How about 3?
2.
For 2, I'll give you 8 gold pieces apiece.
9 or no deal.
Fine, you twisted my beard.
He shakes, kind of reaches out and kind of realizes your hands are full and instead reaches into his pouch and pulls out and counts out 18 gold dragons and kind of hands them out in a hand and exchanges the coin with you for the 2 eggs and kind of waddles away happily.
Well, I have less to carry now.
Alright, then I guess we could make it back to the manor quicker.
All right. Let's get a move on.
Okay. Pats, do you need any help carrying those?
Yes, please.
Okay. She'll take a good, like, 2, maybe 3 of them.
Alright. As you all head back, and Ezra, as you kind of pull these into your arms, they're not heavy, but it's a little bit awkward to carry even with just a few of these, but it is considerably easier than Pat's trying to carry all 4 at once. And so you guys make your way back towards the manor. And are you stashing all of the eggs or just all but one?
Stashing 3.
Okay.
Yeah, where do you
Keeping
want these, Pats?
Let's put in this crate, and I have a crate that just has a bunch of it's for delicates, for things that might be fragile. So like a bunch of straw. Just put it in here,
Set them down in there gently.
just in case these things might hatch. Don't want to
Who
leave
knows?
the babies angry and maybe liable to burn down the manor. We'll see.
All right. So as you place these 3 eggs inside the crate and kind of hold on to one for now, are you going to Rishal first, or are you going to see him after you visit the field ward?
Let's go to Rishal.
Yeah, he's right
It's
next
just
door.
across the street. Yeah.
Go
All
bother
right.
him again.
As you go and open up the door to the bookworm's treasure, and the elf kind of looks at you a bit confused.
You're back already?
Hi. Yeah, we're back.
Did you?
A lot has
Yeah.
happened in the past hour.
We had a fun
Bit of a
trip to the
weird
market.
morning.
I see. Is there something we can help you with? Are you needing to speak to Master Rishal again?
Yes, I would like to speak to the bookworm.
Ah, of course. Give me but a moment.
She retreats back upstairs, and a few moments later, he hobbles his way back down the stairs, and you see the golden dragonborn once more.
You're back already. Did you forget something? Oh.
Nope, we just got some new acquisitions for you to look at.
Had a bit of an adventure in the market.
Well,
Yeah,
what have
we
you
went
got
and-
for me?
We went and talked to the smug bastard, and I spun the wheel, the gachapon, and he gave me this little water skin. It was full of water, and of course, I drank it. But then I got angry. I just had to do something to get back at this guy for selling me this water skin for 50 gold. So then I took some of my magic beans. I planted them underneath this table because I thought it might explode or something, you know. But instead, these weird eggs popped out. I sold 2 to a dwarf, and the other 3 are in our manor, and then I brought 1 to you to look at. Sound good?
I suppose so. Give me a few moments and I'll do the best I can.
And you all watch and wait around for another 10 to 20 minutes as Rishal goes about his painfully slow ritual to determine these items, kind of setting them out and observing them, writing down a few notes on a small piece of parchment beside him, examining and casting a few runes of his own. And eventually, he kind of calls you all back over.
Well, I'm not surprised to see that this morning was eventful. This item that you received, it's an endless decanter of bad ideas. Anyone who drinks the water produced by this decanter is affected in a way. We're swarmed by an idea, a terrible idea that is relevant to the current creature situation.
You know what? That is very accurate to what happened.
As far as the egg, I'm afraid I can't tell you too much. It appears to be magical of some degree, almost as if it was birthed from a magical creature, but its innate attributes I am not sure, as it lacks any enchantment or latent magic that can be identifiable. Anything that it does is just a mere property of the egg itself.
Wait, so is it alive? Will it actually grow into something?
I cannot tell if the egg is fertilized. Perhaps you can find some sort of zoologist.
A zoo what?
A zoologist, someone who studies animals, or perhaps...
Why didn't you just say that?
I did say that.
Gotta use less words. Not a smart goblin.
Noted. But yes, if you could find someone who is proficient in animals or magical creatures, they may be able to assist better than I.
Alright. Where might we find one of those in the city?
Well, to be honest, I'm not quite sure. There are stables with certain kinds of mounts scattered throughout the city, though I doubt that any of these places would have much expertise for what you seek, unless that happens to be a hippogriff or griffin egg. But on most likelihood, it is something else entirely. And for that, you would have to do a bit of exploring. I do know that there is the Watchful Order of Magists and Protectors within the city. It's an organization that I briefly had accompaniment with. They are well known to be versed in all sorts of magic, and if they can't help you, they can perhaps relay you to someone who can. They're based out of a tower, the Tower of the Order in the Castle Ward.
Alright. Orders Tower, Castle Ward. Got it.
Is that all you require at this time?
I believe so, yes.
Thank you for your time, Rashal. Hopefully we won't bother you too much more today.
It's alright. It is quite quiet in here, and so I do not mind visitors from time to time.
Oh, and here's your tip, and I flick him a gold.
Most generous. Thank you.
Kind of bows his head.
Thank- Yeah, it was getting too heavy in my pocket.
Alright. So as you say your goodbyes once again and make your way out of the Bookworm's treasure, are you headed to the field ward?
Yep.
Probably, yeah.
Can we have
Alright.
the map?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Is the Castle Ward anywhere near where we're going today?
Castle Ward.
Alright.
That's
So you guys are currently, oh gosh, over here in the North Ward. The field ward is up north and the Castle Ward is to the south.
Okay. Maybe we can run by there today. We'll see.
yeah. If we've got time in the day, might as well stop by.
And if all four of you could go ahead and make me a perception check.
Two.
Perception. Oh God. Oh no.
Not paying attention.
Ooh.
All right. And Ezra, I need to go ahead and check something real fast. But Durizen, as you kind of come out of the Bookworm's treasure, you're kind of mixed and kind of focused on saying goodbye. And as you kind of turn around, you didn't get your head quite low enough, and the top of your head smacks into the doorframe. You kind of reel back and kind of twist and spin out into the center of the street, and just kind of holding your brow as your vision starts to clear once again. You find yourself looking at everybody, and you watch as Nadari kind of holds back a snicker. And Pats, as you're coming out, kind of looking forward to figuring out what these eggs can do and where to go from here, you do catch notice and see that there does appear to be an individual at the front of Troll Skull Manor, kind of standing idly by the door, and after waiting for a few seconds, seems to knock and then waits a little bit longer.
Hats is the only one who knows them, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a guy at our front door.
Hmm?
What's he doing? Is he suspicious looking?
He looks to be a small child. Well, not a small child. He looks to be a young...
That is very suspicious.
Yeah. He looks to be a young man, maybe 13, 14 years old, kind of in ruffled clothing.
Does he look anything like any of the kids we scared out of the manor?
As you kind of take a look, now all caught by Pat's warning or kind of identification, you take a look. The figure doesn't appear to be familiar, and he's certainly older than the ones that were in the house before.
Hey, young man,
Yeah.
what you doing?
Oh, hello, sir. I'm just here to deliver a message. Don't mean no trouble. Don't mind me.
Who's the message for?
The one, and he looks down at the piece of paper. This one in particular is for the cosmonauts, but I have several others to get to today.
Well, if
Well,
you're
that
looking for the
would be nice.
cosmonauts, you found us. Lucky for you, we were almost heading up to the field district. Would have missed you.
You all are the cosmonauts?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, then I suppose this is for you. And he kind of hands forth a piece of parchment to you, Durizen. And looking at it, it's a very vibrant, colored parchment that seems to detail out some sort of event or place. It's a flyer.
Oh.
This is a new Faire has just come into town, and so they've set out to have me deliver some new invitations to certain people of prominence around the city. Hope you can make it. And he kind of waves and heads down the street.
Oh, did you hear
Oh.
that? People of prominence. It's us.
Prominence.
Wow.
They usually
Must
has a
be
different
important or
connotation
something.
whenever I heard that noise.
Yeah, what sort of scam is this?
Huh.
They mentioned lights, live music, and dances, but not any food. Tisk, tisk.
Maybe you could
I was gonna
bring your own,
cook up a
set
little
up shop.
dish.
Possibly. Does it say when this event will happen?
I think it's tonight.
Ah,
Hmm.
short notice. But I don't think we have anything planned. None of my ingredients are super time sensitive,
What about that
so we
shark
can
fin?
feast tomorrow night.
Okay.
It's fine. I put it on ice.
All right. Well,
Well, it might be interesting at least to see. But I think we got some more important business right now than some fare.
well, if we've
Yes.
got time tonight,
But-
we could check
Well,
it out. But
exactly.
I think right now we should head back up to the field ward.
Does it say like? He said there was like people coming into town for this. This isn't like organized by the city.
Yes, he said that there was a new fair that had come into town.
So it's like a traveling circus kind of deal or a traveling fair.
Potentially.
I'm to understand. Well, that sounds neat. But we got a job to do according to Big Dragon Guy, so let's go do it. Then we can go to the fair. Eh?
Yeah, sounds good to me. I just want to make sure they aren't getting harassed anymore. Seemed like they
That
were doing
would
a
You're
pretty
definitely
so
good thing.
checking.
noble.
No,
can believe-
but
forgot
it seemed
about
like
them.
they were doing a good thing. And we
That
told them
was
to
some
stop
pretty
by.
good stew.
Yeah, we did scare off some of them, but with us not around, I imagine they'd come back.
And this time we don't have Torun to scare him away.
Well, I
Would
suppose we'll have to
definitely be
let
worth-
them know that there are multiple people that are looking out for them.
All right. So you guys begin to travel up the high road and back into the field ward. As you kind of pass through the heavily guarded gate and move down the central street towards the north yard, you do see that there are still multiple guards posted along this main road and multiple vendors that are kind of spread across, and you see the same herb sellers who don't seem to recognize you, or if they do, don't make any sort of commentary as you pass along the street and head down into that same alleyway, kind of making your way to the soup kitchen. And as it is getting around the lunch hours, you do see that quite a heavy line is kind of extending out of the front of this small building.
Well, that's certainly a good sign.
Yeah,
last
but I'd
time-
like to make sure they haven't been coming back at other times. So I'm not waiting in this line. Durizen's gonna move towards the front.
Alright, Durizen, as you kind of skip past the line and kind of head up towards the front, the line continues. There's a good 20 to 30 people in this line that weaves its way towards the front door, but you can see that there is also an open window that kind of, you can smell the wafting aroma of the soup being made from inside.
Durizen will go knock at the window, I guess.
So you kind of come up and kind of poke your head in and kind of knock on the wooden shutters, and soon you see as the halfling woman kind of catches your attention, and her face lights up immediately as she moves over and kind of gives a few instructions to one of the smaller halfling children, and kind of comes over. Oh, Mr. Dragonborn, it's so wonderful to see you all again. Things are going well here since you all came last. But can I get you some soup?
Well, I'm sure we'd all love a little bit, getting a little peckish, but we were just coming to check and make sure no one's causing you any more problems.
Oh,
Well, it seems you're doing pretty good.
there are always problems, of course. But none of the thugs have returned yet. It seems that you and your companions did quite a number on them. And, I don't think they will be bothering us for some time. At least not in the way they had before.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if you insult the serpents, if you are deemed a high enough risk for them to not ignore you, which I don't believe we are, but should it be, they tend to come down in force. Though I imagine we will slip through the cracks since they are in full war with Dusk at the moment. They don't particularly have too much time unless the dwarf, the head of those thugs, unless he makes too much of a stink. But to be honest, he didn't seem to be very high on the totem pole to me, more a grasping for power that he where he could. With Lhazaar's luck on our side, we won't see hide or tail of them for at least another season.
Well, that's good. When they do come back, make sure you let us know. We'll take care of them again. What you're doing here is a good thing, feeding these people.
Well, we thank you for your for acting as our guardians. It is truly an honor that we do not deserve here, but we are very grateful.
So are we all gonna have some soup?
Yeah, if you guys are interested, she kind of brings forth 4 of these bowls, and it's more sort of a thick soup. And you see kind of potatoes and chives and carrots mixed into a thick broth, but it is quite tasty for the limited ingredients, as you remember the warm, soothing taste that you had tried before.
Well, it looks delicious. I don't suppose we can turn down such a wonderful gesture.
Please, please, I insist. It's the least that we can do for you all after you all have chased them off. We've had more business than ever before.
I definitely won't say no to free food. Ever.
I thought not. I do remember you having quite the appetite. She hands out the bowls to each one of you, and it's a fairly small bowl, but still, as you kind of eat through, it's still filling, especially for a lighter lunch.
When Durizen finish it, he'll put a gold coin in the bowl and return it.
Alright, as you, they have kind of tubs outside where the wooden bowls are stacked, but as you kind of catch her attention and personally hand over, she kind of dismisses herself for the work once again and comes and grabs it and kind of sees it, and her eyes kind of shine for a moment as she kind of reaches in and, are you sure, mister?
Absolutely. I'm just paying what it was worth.
Well, may the sovereigns bless you, all of you. She kind of curtsies a little bit before making her way back and putting the bowls into the wash and kind of tucking the coin carefully into a pocket.
Alright, so has anyone else got anything they need to do before nightfall? We get to go to the so-called Faire.
I would love to go.
That sounds pretty interesting.
Maybe we can take a visit to the Tower of the Order. See if they can see what kind of eggs these are. See if we can find one of them zoologists or whatever he said.
I think that's on the way too, so.
Yeah, well, do you want to pick up all the eggs then if we're going to go figure it out?
Nah, just the one will do. They're all the same. Probably.
Probably.
Oh boy.
I just love sprinkling random probablys into my sentences.
It's good. It's good fun.
Alright, so you guys are headed out of the field ward and down to the Tower of the Order?
Yes.
Indeed.
Alrighty.
Where is that again? I don't remember.
It is in the Castle Ward. And it takes you a little over an hour to make the travel all the way down to the Castle Ward, but after asking for directions, you are eventually referred to a rather large building, an ostentatious tower that stretches out near the Street of Bells. And kind of looking over this four-story tall tower that's fashioned from stone, and you can see it surrounded by a magical fence of green sparkling light that in spots coalesces into some sort of symbol. And you can see a mosaic of a single hand that is inscribed over the tower's doorway. And you kind of come up to the edge of this gate, and you see that there are two what appear to be not city watchmen but city guardsmen in full heavy armor with large halberds at their sides. And as you kind of come up, they seem stationary and don't really respond with you as you approach.
Do any of you guys know where I can find a zoologist in this dang city?
One of the helms kind of glances down towards you.
What in the world is a zoologist?
That's what I said. Some guy who knows a lot about animals. preferably magical ones.
You could try one of the stables. There are many different types of griffins and hippogriffs and other magical creatures that are stabled there.
That does sound like a decent idea. But do griffins come from beans?
Not that I'm aware of.
I'm not aware of that either. Where's the nearest stable?
There should be one near most of the entryways. You can find the guild paddock not too far east of here, right next to the entryway into the city of the dead.
That doesn't sound too far. Can I look at the map? Oh, it really isn't far at all. Perfect. But what if they don't know anything? Then will you guys let me in on zoologists that you know?
If you would like to speak with the order, you can make an appointment.
Oh, that sounds like bureaucracy. I don't like bureaucracy. But I'll do it if I have to figure out anything about these eggs. Alright,
But
let's
by the time
let's
we
go.
get in to see them, the eggs are going to be hatched, or well, something else will have happened, I'm sure.
Dinner.
I'm just trying not to think of that.
Well, we'll burn that bridge when we come to it. Let's head on to the stables then. Let's find these griffins.
Alright. As you kind of, once again, asking directions, making your way across the high road and down into the trades ward, you are led to a building situated right next to one of the gates into the city of the dead that is apparently called the Guild Paddock. And the guild seems to refer to the Stable Masters and Farriers Guild, an organization known for representing all who breed, train, capture, tame, house, and tend to horses as well as other riding animals. And as you kind of make your way to this paddock, it is not what you really would what you would typically expect. You would typically expect a stable, maybe some riding grounds, but what you see here is almost like a zoo in itself in a way, where you see some areas that are similar to a stable, though many of them are considerably larger than for what would be for a typical horse. You also see some that are situated in what looks like a small swamp, where you can see water that is starting to seep in through the building, through parts of the building, and there is a glass that contains it rather than the wooden walls of a normal stable. And within these various enclosures, you see indeed some of them have horses, at least in the first third portion of the paddock. But as you move back further, the creatures continue to get more and more odd. Aquatic creatures, lizards, great cats, and even further in you see other beasts that have large wings, horses that have wings, some that are more almost lion-like with large bird-like beaks and heavy clawed feet that you know to be griffins. And you even see a few that appear to be draconic in nature, perhaps wyverns. And as you enter into this kind of paddock, you are quickly met as a man, seems to be a dwarven individual with kind of a long white beard with just a tuft of red in the middle. He seems to have two tusks that are kind of intertwined into the braids of his beard. Is wearing leather armor that has motifs of different sorts of animals and mystical creatures. He kind of strolls up to you all as you come in.
Aye, what can I do for you today? Do you have something docked in the paddock, or do you need some to rent a space?
Nah, I just need you to answer a couple questions. What the hell is this egg?
And you kind of catch him off guard as you kind of hold up this large egg towards him, and he kind of takes a look over it.
To be honest, I'm not sure. It's not like any sort of egg I've seen. Don't.
It ain't like a
it's-
griffin egg or like a wyvern egg or a horse egg or I don't know.
Well, horses give birth to live birth. They don't lay eggs. And most types of griffins also give birth to live babes. I've never seen a wyvern egg like this, but I suppose it's not impossible. I've only seen one batch of wyvern eggs in the flesh. But I can assure you it's not anything that we have nested in here.
So I take it you aren't a zoologist. Can you point me in the direction of one?
A zoo, whatchamacallit?
Someone who knows a lot about animals. I guess more than you.
Yeah. Now I take offense to that. I know quite a bit about animals, but only ones that make proper mounts. That egg seems a little small for anything to come out of it that's rideable. If you're truly curious, you could always try the old monster shop. If it's magical,
Monsters?
they should know.
They sell monsters?
Of all shapes and sizes.
Ooh, where's that at?
It's a little bit further down in the trades ward.
Trade ward.
That's where you are now.
Oh, we are, huh?
You familiar with the city?
Been here for a little while. I just haven't taken a nice look at the map. I didn't realize it was color-coded.
Kind of chuckles a little bit hearing this.
The city does a good job with the infrastructure and such. Makes it easy for navigation.
Can definitely say this is one of the nicer cities I've been to. Very easy to walk.
I suppose that would be true. It's one
Not
of
as
the
good for
largest-
climbing, though.
Yeah, depends on if you know where to climb. This is one of the largest cities, though, so I should hope it has a good infrastructure set up.
What are you talking about, Pets? We climbed up a mountain the other day.
Nah, I meant climbing around cities. Doing, pirate stuff. That was my job. But that ain't happening now.
Well, you're not the assistant cook anymore. Now you're the head cook.
Oh, you're right.
And we very much appreciate it.
Thank you kindly. So, since you don't know anything about this egg, I guess we'll be heading on to the monster shop.
But before we go, can I at least pet something here?
You want to pet something?
Anything.
Well, to be honest, most of what we have here are creatures from different people within the city. They rent out a space to place their various mounts or pets while they're not being used. It's one of the few places in the city that can house such exquisite and exotic creatures. As far as being able to pet them, I'm not sure I would. Most of them I wouldn't trust too far to be that they wouldn't give you a bite or at least a nibble. But I suppose if you'd like, I do have a hippogriff out here that you might be able to pet if you know how to be soft.
Well, I'd love to give it a try. Ezra's just so excited.
She's my own mount. Bred her since she was a very young colt.
She's beautiful.
He kind of takes you back into a small stall where you see indeed what looks to be, it's got almost an eagle or a falcon-like head that spreads back into feathered wings with these long eagle talons, though vastly oversized. But the back half of it does appear to be that of a horse. These white feathers speckled with brown just turn into that of a jet black horse on the back side and the back legs. He kind of comes over.
Kaylin, we got a bit of a treat for you.
Kind of holds up a treat. And the hippogriff kind of nuzzles through and his head kind of pokes out and pecks at the treat in the man's hand.
If you're nice and slow, you can pedal right on the back of the head, where the feathers are. Just make sure not to spook her.
Of course. And she just reaches ever so gently, just the softest touch to pet her feathers. And she's just grinning ear to ear.
As you touch the feathers, the feathers themselves are very soft, but they don't go very far, and you can immediately feel the strong muscle of this creature's neck as your hands kind of press down onto it and kind of petting across the neck of it. It's a very impressive creature.
She's absolutely beautiful. And you've raised her since she was little?
Indeed. Most of us
Wow.
who have been around long enough eventually get a mount to reflect our status. One of our pride and joy is the eyrie that we run up by the palace on the mountain. It's where we breed all the griffins that are used by the griffin cavalry. Perhaps one day I might get a griffin myself, but when I was young I was taken by this pretty mare first, and I've never had reason to change from her.
We've raised a wonderful animal. She's fantastic. Done a lovely job. As she's just like floundering for words, she's just staring at the animal in front of her.
This looks a lot like the first time she met Cosmo. That girl really does like animals.
I could sit here all day.
Well, if you're ever looking for work, the guild does occasionally hire. It's not the best way to earn income, but it does come with its perks.
Oh, I'm interested in anything involving animals. I'll keep that in mind. But I think we need to find Pat's here, a zoologist, as she kind of sighs and steps away from the hippogriff.
As you kind of step back, it finishes eating the treat within the dwarf's hand and kind of retreats back into her paddock with kind of a clicking sound from the beak as it turns around and kind of nestles back into the hay.
Don't be too sad, Ezra. If we're going to see a zoologist, there might be more animals involved.
You're right. Let's go. Well, thank you, sir, for indulging me and letting me, or introducing me to your mount. She's wonderful.
Of course. She likes visitors, and she's one of the few that are trusted here not to take your hand off.
Well, I certainly wouldn't want to lose that, so I appreciate it.
No, I imagine not. You all have a good day, and I hope you find someone who can tell you what those eggs really are.
We sure are hoping so.
I've never been more invested in these eggs than any other egg before. Even those rock eggs.
You had rock eggs.
Just the one. For breakfast. It was good.
You ate a rock egg.
What else was I gonna do with it? Very gamey flavor for eggs, which is kind of weird, but it was enjoyable.
There is just an utter shock on his face, and almost a bit of insult that has kind of come through.
You know that you could have. We would have paid thousands of dragons to get our hands on a true rock.
And why did that guy sell it for so cheap? Maybe it wasn't a rock egg. Still good though.
Well, if you ever come across a rock egg again, you bring it by here and I'll offer you quite a few dragons for it.
I will keep that in mind.
Nice. You all bid your goodbyes and head out. You said you're headed to the old monster shop?
Yep.
All
To
right.
see what sort of cute and or terrible monsters there are.
And
Hopefully both.
Yes.
I did slightly misspeak. It is actually in the southern ward, but it's close to the edge of the trades ward. But you make your way down the high road based on the directions given to you by the dwarf, and eventually passing through a small court, you do find a very large area that is kind of sectioned off with multiple both watchmen and guardsmen. And near the edge of the city, along the wall, this somehow even supersedes what you saw at the guild paddock. What you saw at the paddock was mostly animals that were fairly docile and tame. Here, there are creatures that you're not even sure how they were allowed within the city at all, much less how they're being controlled, if that's even possible to say. You see wolf-like creatures with dark fur that have two heads. You see snakes that are 24 feet long. You see what almost look to be a normal dog, but with ears that are 3 times as long and bones that protrude up, extending the back of the spine, almost looking like they could pierce through the skin. You see large beasts with striped skin and long fangs and talons. You see massive aquatic animals, as well as insects that are the size of pats and even bigger. There are just dozens and dozens of these creatures, ranging from small mystical creatures to massive mammoths and other creatures of immense size, and all of which appear to be very dangerous. And as you kind of approach up next to this massive place, there are a few guards on kind of the edge who kind of hail you as you approach.
Welcome. Are you here for the monster shop?
That we are.
Do you have an appointment to see a certain creature?
No, we were trying to get information. I have this egg. I have no idea what it's from. I got it from a bean. What will it hatch into?
You should inquire inside.
within the main office there, and he kind of points towards the front center of this kind of area that is cordoned off. You see a fairly tall stone building, and on the front of it you can see that there are different depictions of different creatures in stained glass along the windows of the outer edge, and there is a single symbol above the door of what almost appears to be a snake-like creature, but intertwined together multiple of these snake-like creature heads. And as you kind of head in through the doorway, you see various people of varying races. You see elves and dwarves, but you also see bugbears and goblinoids. You even see an orc who is kind of in there, all of them kind of discussing back and forth. And you do see a counter where there is a well-dressed gnomish individual who kind of sits behind the desk, and as you kind of enter, he kind of calls you over here, please, don't dally. As you walk up to the desk, he kind of looks down from his spot where he sits high behind the desk. What can I do for you today?
I found this egg. What is it? And I just place it on the table.
As he kind of lifts it up into his hands and sets it down, begins to inspect it and review it. Well, where exactly did you find this?
I got it out of a bean. I planted the bean, and the egg grew out of the ground.
I see. Well, I'm afraid that this is not that of any creature. This is more a magical convocation. Something created from pure magic. It is not a creature of any kind. More for that of ingestion, so to say. Though this would make for a valuable meal to many of our creatures. Are you selling this egg?
Nope, I already sold 2 of them.
Are you sure? I'd be willing to pay you in gold or platinum.
Platinum?
Indeed.
Ooh. How much platinum we talking?
I'd give you 5 platinum pieces for the egg. And more if you had additional ones.
You know what? I think that water wore off, so I'm gonna respectfully decline. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me and my compatriots to have some magical egg omelets, or something of that sort. So I will decline your offer.
Is it reasonable for me to assume that you have more?
Yes.
Out of curiosity, how many do you have?
Maybe not disclose it.
Got enough.
Could get more money out of them.
Well, if you do have multiple, an egg like that could feed quite a few humanoid individuals. One by itself could feed you and your companions. If you have more, I would be happy to purchase them as part of a package.
How big are these eggs again?
They're roughly the size of your hand, maybe a little bit larger.
You know what, guys? If you guys are okay with having slightly less eggs, we could put this as a down payment towards the tavern. Or towards it. Is everyone okay with that?
It is yours.
Yes, but these might be some magical bean eggs. However, if we get a tavern up and running, which I've always wanted to run a tavern, we could also order more ingredients. Maybe I can find some more of those magic beans to make into these magic eggs. We could get more eggs out of selling these eggs now. I am really good at economics, okay? I was the third apprentice to the money handler guy on the ship.
Oh wow, third apprentice, huh?
I was
That's a
only
pretty
used when the
lofty
other
title.
three.
How many occupations did you have on the ship?
Just the two. And I was also the guy who sat in the crow's nest most of the time. So I had 3 jobs.
Well, they are yours, so it is your decision, but I think that sounds like a good plan.
It's 10 platinum, or 10 gold, 12 platinum, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And I currently have 4 eggs.
What is it? 1 year and 3 back at the manor, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
How much? Alright. I will give you 2 of them. I'm willing to sell 2. How much will you give me for those?
Well, the price for 2 would be 5 platinum apiece. Should it be more, I could offer an incentive. For each additional one, I'd up the price of each for a platinum piece.
I think I'll just sell the 2.
Then I'd be happy to provide you with 10 platinum pieces.
Perfect. Well, at the moment, you will pay us the 5 platinum. I will give you the egg. And then tomorrow morning, we will return with the second egg. And you will give us the other 5 platinum. Fair shake?
Very well. He kind of opens up a drawer, and you can hear him reaching in and kind of counts out 5 coins and puts them on top of the desk next to the egg, and takes the egg and kind of hands it back to another associate who disappears behind doors further into the building.
Wonderful doing business, Mr.
Pats. Call me Pats.
Wonderful to do business. We shall see you here tomorrow morning.
Maybe late in the morning, depending on how turned I get at this event tonight.
Oh, you are going somewhere?
Going to the fair, and I hold out the flyer that we received.
Yes, the Sea Maiden's Fair. They, at one point purchased a few of their star performers from us.
Ooh, that's exciting. What were they? Were they some of those weird skeleton horses? I've heard of those.
I suppose you will have to go and find out. Though if you are interested
I like
in
this guy.
purchasing intriguing mystical mount, we do have some for sale.
I already got a mount, and I jump on Durizen's shoulders.
Hey.
The title of endearment.
Uh-huh.
Well, I believe our business is concluded then, Mr. What's your name?
Intilwick. Pinewood Intilwick.
Pinewood Interwick. Pleasure doing business with you as I rub the platinum between my fingers.
I look forward to seeing you in the morn.
Alright, gang. Let's go!
Alright, let's go see what this fair is about. Should be getting about that time.
Yeah.
So excited for that. Have you guys been to a fair before?
Not in many, many years.
I don't know. I don't think I can say I have.
Well, I promise they're usually quite a fun time.
Oh boy. I'm excited.
Alright, as you all begin to head over towards the dock ward and asking once more for directions, you are referred to a section of the docks. And making your way there, you see as it's now getting to be close to evening, about 4 or 5 o'clock, and already there are numerous individuals gathered around the dock as many people prepare to come back from the long day of fishing. But you can see this particular dock is dominated by two large vessels. One that has these bright red sails, another that has these large pink sails, and both of them are decorated with large gilded gold and silver. And traveling across both of them, you can see various performers in costumes. You can see animals of all sorts, as well as people loading up items and setting up different canopies all around. And the docks themselves are a bustle of activity.
Well, if I remember correctly, the purpose of these just to find and see interesting things.
Especially the food.
Well, I didn't say anything about food.
Well,
That's
I
always
hope
the
there's
hope,
food.
They're usually
Otherwise-
known for their cuisine, aren't they?
Sorry, what was that?
They're usually known for their food, aren't they?
Who are you talking about?
Wait.
The fair?
Fairs in general?
Oh,
Yeah.
Ah,
I thought you meant like a people.
yeah, I
It's
did
like-
too. I was trying to get. Sorry.
I was so confused. I'm like, have I just never been to a fair? Do I not?
Where are the deep fried corn dogs?
You've never had fried Oreos?
Like, Wisconsin State Fair was a great time.
As you do come up to these docks, you do see multiple vendors kind of lining the main dock before it splits in front of these two ships. And there are already vendors setting up with all sorts of knickknacks and snacks.
All right, Pat's eyes
Do
just
the
light
nick-
up at
Next.
the prospect of all the food. Yeah, fair food. Need to unload some of this platinum. All right, maybe not all of it or any of it.
Maybe
I still have
not shout that out loud around a lot of people.
You're not my supervisor.
Oh, thank the gods for that. Go and have fun.
Don't have to
I'll
tell
go
me
with
twice.
Pat, make sure no one takes too much advantage of them.
All right, so Pats, you're just going to peruse these different vendors?
Yep. Gonna sample everything.
Oh boy.
You see...
I will make all the con saves I need to.
You see all sorts of exotic delicacies, things from crocodile meat to giant ant eggs and raspberry. There are different worms and insects. There are fried bats, frog legs, a camel burger. So many different things that are wild and extravagant.
Ah, if only my brother Rob Gob could see all these. He would have liked a camel burger.
I think I'm a bit partial to the alligator meat myself.
That seems awfully close to cannibalism.
In what way?
You're both scaled.
And?
That's all I got.
Okay. I seem to remember you eating fuzzy things.
Touche. And I will buy your alligator nuggets or whatever.
Are they in the shape of little alligators?
They're not. They're actually
Aw.
more of a marinated meat. They're like slabs of meat along potentially a rib bone that is just covered in some sort of marinade.
Sounds delicious.
They're not dino nuggies.
Oh. Pats will pace himself and only buy one order from each of the stalls. He knows the
Oh
song and
my
dance here.
All right. So all in all, as you guys kind of go from stall to stall purchasing all this, it costs you, we'll say, about 2 dragons worth as you kind of purchase different things from each of these. So Pats, if you want to go ahead and mark off 2 gold pieces.
All right, done.
But yeah, you see as while the stalls have been set up, it doesn't appear like there are any events currently ongoing.
I wanted to look at the trinkets that you had mentioned.
Yeah. As you find your way up towards the booths, kind of on the opposite side of the areas where all this food is kind of set out, you do see miscellaneous items of different sorts kind of spread forth out in front of you. And kind of looking over, observing, seeing what catches your attention, you do see that there are typical things that you might expect, things that it appears almost like fanware for some sort of either sport event of some kind, though you're not terribly familiar with it. You also see various types of apparel and jewelry, as well as other things that appear to be enchanted with minor magics. You see a candle that cannot be extinguished when put into water. You see small, spongy, gelatinous beads that can provide nourishment for a day. Still other places where there are smiths that claim to have armor that cannot get dirty. Or clothes that can shift and change what they appear as. Or even repair themselves. There's a vendor who has these large, what appear to be hollowed out sheep's horns that he calls the ear horn of hearing, that can suppress effects of a deafened condition upon you. And still more these various types of prosthetics and sorts of jewelry and clothing and small items of just minor effects.
Ooh. Can I go and ask about the candle?
Of course. Yeah, you kind of come up and the old woman who is kind of set at this booth with these various candles of all different colors kind of stretched out behind her. As you kind of come up. Something catch your eye, dearie? Do you have a favorite color, perhaps?
Oh, well, if you can't tell about my dress, purple, of course.
I knew you had a good sense about you.
Why do you ask?
Well, clearly you came over here because my candles caught your eye. I just wanted to know which one to pick out for you.
So you do have multiple?
Of course, she kind of motions behind her, and you see that there are various ones of similar, though differing shape, but all sorts of different color.
And these all... they stay lit underwater?
Indeed, they are even resistant to the wind itself.
That's fascinating. How is it done?
Family recipe.
I don't suppose I'd get a demonstration.
Of course. She reaches over towards the edge of her kind of desk that she has set up, and you can see a candle that has burnt about halfway through, and she pulls out a small tinder box that kind of strikes a piece of wood across it and lights the wick of the candle, and reaches over and pulls a glass of water from beside her and kind of takes the candle and inverting it and kind of sticks it down into the glass of water and you can still see the flame that burns, and it actually burns with the same color, this one a vibrant green of the candle itself, and kind of billows out, and you can see small bubbles kind of escaping through the water, but the flame still burns, and she kind of pulls it out and sets it back on the table, and the small fire is still there.
Well, and I imagine there's no reason I need to suspect that this is a trick.
You can make an insight check or a perception check if you would like.
I suppose. Could always be a it's definitely a candle that glows underwater.
Ooh.
How much for a purple one?
Oh, each of the candles is 20 gold pieces.
20?
20, yes.
Will you be here for a while?
I assume so, as long as the fair's in town. I'll set up each evening.
Oh, how long does it go on?
That's a good question. It appeared out of nowhere and has had performances each night. Who knows how long it'll be here, but it attracts quite a bit of attention, so I will set up here each night. Madame Uta does know how to take advantage of an opportunity.
Madam who now?
Uta! Garlis Uta at your service.
Well, it is a pleasure to meet you, and these are very interesting, but I'd like to get to see more of the fair and possibly come back.
Understandable, I suppose, dearie. Do come back and see me now.
I suppose I shall. Ezra, did you hear that?
Sorry, cat. The fact that the fact that the fair is mysteriously in town for who knows how long?
Yes, that part. I think we might have a fun story if we keep investigating, don't you think?
I think so.
We need to find the boys. We need to figure this out.
But before we go, I do want to check out those hang on, what was it? I want to check out the boba that can provide nourishment for a day. The jelly beans. Nourishment boba.
Yeah, as you kind of walk up, there's an elven man and a younger woman. She appears to be but a teenager to you. And they kind of sit behind a small stand of a very vibrant green. In front of them are these small packages of maybe about 10 of these small, 10 to 20 of these small, what appear to be almost a kind of gelatin-like capsule. And as you kind of approach, are you interested in one of our beads of nourishment? They can sustain you for an entire day on a single small dose.
Really? And how many come in one pack, or how are you selling them?
We sell them in packages of 10 for 6 gold pieces, or 6 dragons, or packages of 20 for 10 dragons.
Well, I do like to eat. And, not being hungry from time to time would be nice. You said it was 10 dragons for 20?
Indeed.
A whole day, huh?
A whole day.
Sure. I'll buy 20. Why not?
All right.
And she'll hand over the gold.
And the young elven woman kind of reaches down and pulls out a small pack of these capsules, and they appear to have this bluish liquid that is kind of encased in gelatin, and she kind of hands them forward. Here, please. As the man takes the
thank you.
coin from you.
I hope these will come in good use one day. I'm interested to try them.
Please tell your friends.
I'll let them know. With that, she'll kind of, I guess, turn back to Andari and say, all right, we gotta find the boys before I buy more stuff.
Well, I'm certainly not the person to discourage you from buying fun things like that, but I agree. Let's find them, and maybe we will end up finding some more interesting things anyway.
I wouldn't be surprised.
All right, and
Oh,
after
boys.
navigating your way through this dock and the various booths that are set up, you do finally kind of catch more sound than sight of Pat's kind of coming around the corner. You see him and Durizen trying different foods.
Hey guys, you got to try this. It's a
What
camel
y'all
burger.
get your hands on? A what?
I don't even know what a camel is, but it's good.
Yeah, I don't know what any of this meat is. Most of it's pretty good.
This is way better than most mystery meat I've had at sea.
Well, I did just buy these, but
Hmm.
I guess I might as well have a little bit of fair food, right? What would y'all recommend?
Everything.
Well,
But I
Honestly,
will say
the alligator's got to be my favorite.
that was pretty good. It's a tie between that and the camel burger.
Hmm. How are the alligator things sold? Are they sold in are they kind of like the kebabs where you can buy like one little piece?
No, they're sold on like platters, and there's a
Like a
large
rack of
slab
ribs.
of yeah. They're basically a rack of ribs, but a large one.
All right, how much for some alligator ribs?
The ribs
Wasn't terribly
themselves,
expensive.
yeah, the ribs themselves are only about a silver and 8 copper.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll get one of those. Ezra hasn't eaten since having some soup, so.
Yeah, and you
Sure.
are handed this platter of these marinated large ribs that kind of come out, and the flavor on them is quite delicious. Though the meat itself is unlike any you have tasted before. It's somewhat similar to chicken in its texture, but the taste is different.
Wow, you guys are right. This is really good. I've never had anything like it. And that was 1 silver and 8 copper?
Yep.
Okay. And Dari, did you want to try any of mine? Give you a little rib.
I might have to pass on that, but I'll keep my eye out for something. What else is there? Out of curiosity? Sorry, I know you listed off a few.
As far as food,
Mm-hmm.
there are dozens and dozens of things. Some of them you can tell or can see. Some of them listed in various languages that you may or may not be familiar with. But there are things like the ones that you can recognize. You see blood sausage, giant ant eggs, and raspberry. There's the crocodile meat. There's fried insects. There's different types of fried bats or frog legs. The camel burger.
I don't suppose there's anything sweet then.
There are quite a few sweets. You see something that looks almost like a lollipop that appears to be called a honey pop and is derived from different sorts of flavored honey. You also see what are affectionately referred to as pixie sticks, which are apparently sugars infused with different types of pixie magic.
Oh my goodness.
Wonder if that tastes like pixie ramen.
You also see jellied fish eye, which is apparently supposed to be sweet and used as a dessert.
It's good.
That one
Reminds-
intrigues me. I'm gonna go look
reminds
at
me of
that stall and see how appetizing that looks.
As you look, there are just kind of sets, and they appear to come in pairs, but these they are at least an inch in diameter, if not bigger, of these what appear to be actual fish eyes that have just been jellied and sprinkled with either syrups or sugar, and many of them have even been infused with dyes so that they appear to be different colors.
Alright, I'm going for it.
More
How much is one of
boba.
these things?
For a pair of them, it'll just be a silver.
Oh. I'm doing it. Hannah is cringing, but Indari's excited.
Oh, enjoy that gusher.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ezra's
well.
excited for you.
They're sweet and salty. A wonderful combination of it.
Oh gosh.
Kind of biting into it, it's almost similar to like a boiled egg with kind of a bit of seasoning and sugar on it, but you can certainly taste that there is almost a candy coating on the outside that does kind of take over with kind of a sweetness to it. And surprisingly, it's not awful, but the texture is very strange.
The taste.
Huh.
What do you think?
It's not bad, actually. Do you want the other one?
Oh, I don't want to eat the whole thing. I'll just have a bite.
Suit yourself, but please try it.
Why
It's
not?
definitely interesting in texture, as you'd probably expect, but
She takes a little nibble. Whoa. Yeah, you're right. That's not bad. And she hands the rest of the eyeball back to Ndari.
it's always fun to try new treats and things that, well, you can't explain quite as easily as some of the others, I suppose. She'll offer the rest of the other one to Pats and Durizen if they want to try it.
What do you mean? I've already had 2 of them.
Eyes aren't really my thing.
Suit yourself.
I'll losing out.
I'm gonna just pop the rest of it in my mouth.
And
Nom nom nom. Eyeballs.
Mmm.
It's better than expected, but it is an eyeball. But yes,
Now that's the spirit.
after finishing your miscellaneous delicacies, what are you all doing?
About what time is it getting to be?
The sun has now set as you have all kind of finished and spent some time here, and it does appear to be getting to be maybe about 7 o'clock. And you do see as activity has started, there are large colorful tents that have kind of been set up across the far end of the decks, as well as even up onto the ships themselves. And you can see sailors still working around and setting up the last few things, but most of the performers have taken their places inside of the tents.
Guess we gotta find ourselves an event, sit down, enjoy the show.
That guy at the monster shop did say that there would be animals here, and I'd never say no to seeing more animals.
You?
They're just so cool and cute and scary.
Yeah,
I'm
can we
gonna pop Cosmo out of my sleeve and he's gonna go grrr, but in hamster.
Can we ask one of the workers if there's like an animal tamer event?
Yeah, as you kind of, so you see, around this you see kind of different sailors who appear to be workers, as well as kind of carnies in different, outfits and guards. Which one are you asking?
Carney.
Alright, as you kind of come up to ask them, they kind of, point you over. Ah, yes, well, if you look there, the ship on the left is the Heartbreaker.
that one is where you'll see numerous types of performances of the more seductive kind, as well as musicians and decorative floats. The one on the right is the Hellraiser. That's where you'll see more traditional performers, as well as strange creatures and animals.
Oh, I think I know which one we'll want. Hey Ezra, the right one's got the animal.
Animals, I'm in.
Alright. And kind of making your way in that direction, kind of passing by the guards and heading up, you see a long line forming out as there are these large kind of staffs and this banner spread between them in front of this section of the dock, and you do see kind of written in a very flame-like script Hellraiser across the top of the banner, and kind of passing that direction as you all wait in line for your turn. Eventually, you are kind of a couple of sailors come up to you all and kind of look at you. Excuse me, are you all the group known as the Cosmonauts?
We are. Who might be asking?
We have word from one of our captains that they would like to speak with you on the Eye Catcher, if you have some time.
Well, I think we were just trying to enjoy some of the festivities, but I don't think we're too busy besides that.
I'm sure if you give some time, they might be able to work something out for expedited entry, as well as potential benefits.
Oh, take your word for it. Which ship was that again?
We can escort you via rowboat, if you've got time.
Well, I guess the animals will still be here. Either still tonight or another night. This place is apparently in town, supposedly, more than one night.
I don't know if Durizen trusts this guy with his rowboat.
I'm sure it will just be a bit of time. You all will be back in time for the events. They should run well into the night.
Well, I'm sure we can go and talk to these people.
Well,
As long as we can trust the rowboat. I've been in some sketchy rowboats before.
I'm sure that we will accommodate you well. We are seasoned sailors.
And they kind of begin to escort you out of the line and over towards the edge, kind of the center of these two docks that have kind of met. And as you kind of all pile into a smaller rowboat, and it's a bit cramped between all six of you, but there still seems to be enough space, and it seems to be a hardy enough ship. And the two of them begin to set about rowing into the bay. And as you head out, you can see that moored about a mile away from the other two ships is a large vessel anchored in the bay. You can see a large darkened hull with more of those gilded patterns along the back end and sails of a crimson red that are tied up onto the top where it is situated. And it takes a little bit, but eventually you are rowed out to the ship. And a gangplank is kind of lowered down with a kind of a rail to assist you in climbing up. And from off of the deck, you see a woman step down. Her dress is kind of a long, flowing red, and her hair sits in a dark bluish black shortly right above her shoulders. And as she kind of steps down, "Welcome. It is good to see you all."
I will take you to the quarters. If you all could just follow me. Oh, there is one other thing. There is some stigma around Drow and Dragonborn within the city. Would you mind if I cast a simple illusion over you all until you made your way into the quarters and could introduce yourself?
After all this time, we really have to hide our faces?
It is some of the sailors aboard this vessel, they do not come from such free-minded cities as this one. It would simply make things simpler.
So long as they, it doesn't fail and then they find out we've been tricking him, I'm fine with it.
I am sure that it is a simple spell, but it should accommodate well enough. You watch as hearing your agreement, her hands begin to twist and move, and you all watch as Durizen and Nadari's appearance shifts into that of humanoids, but keeping many of the similar features that they originally had. Nadari's skin just shifting in color and her ears shrinking down to the rounded edges of humans, and Durizen's kind of turning into a dark-skinned humanoid male with a bald head, and it's a bit off-putting but also interesting in a way to see them like this.
My goodness! Durizen, your head!
Whoa!
What? What do I look like?
Oh,
Can I tap the top of his head?
What was that?
Can I tap the top of his head?
As you go and you tap his head, you feel,
reach?
as your hand kind of passes through the edge of the illusion, you feel the scales underneath.
Ouch. Yep, forgot illusion. Got excited.
Please, do follow me.
And the woman begins to step back onto the ship. Are you all following after?
Yeah, Durizen
Yeah.
is.
Alright.
Yep.
No, Nadari, your hair color is still the same. It's still white.
Ooh.
Alright, as you all begin to head into the back portion of the ship kind of extends up a good maybe 20 or 30 feet. And you can see that there is a large cabin in the back. And as you make your way into this cabin, you see that there is a large table that is set out through the center with various foods and things that seem to have been freshly eaten. And there are some sailors who are moving through and kind of collecting the plates and the bowls and kind of grabbing them off and taking them back to the kitchens and cleaning them off. And the woman kind of waves you all in.
He will be with you shortly.
And as she turns and leaves, closing the door behind you, you all are left in this very elegant cabin. It is quite exquisite. You see kind of these heavy red velvet curtains pulled back with golden cord. You see paintings with gilded frames and exquisite detail. There is a desk where you see piles of scrolls, and the table itself, the remaining silverware is a beautiful silver, and you can see the remains of what seemed to be a large feast that has just been kind of cleaned up by these servants. Is there anything that you all are doing while you wait?
Ezra's just kind of looking around, kind of wide-eyed in awe. Wow. Who's the captain of this ship? Our name must be getting out somehow in the city.
you know, I'm not often on these kinds of ships, but usually I'm looting them. So this is a weird experience for me.
Yeah, it's a bit strange to just get summoned like this. I'm not exactly comfortable being out here on the ship under. whatever sort of control they might put on us.
Definitely an interesting situation, to say the least. Definitely afraid to touch anything in here. It looks expensive.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. They shouldn't have left us in this room if they didn't want us looking at things, at least. Durizen just
Well,
wants
I
to
usually...
take a quick look at the letters and stuff on the desk. He's not going to shift anything, just giving it a glance.
Sure. Give me a perception or investigation check.
They're about the same.
Durizen, you kind of lean over and kind of begin to look and kind of examine what's on the desk. You see a few different scrolls that are wrapped up and neatly sealed with some sort of seal that you can't make out the shape on it from this angle. And you see a single letter kind of stretch out on the desk, a quill and some ink next to it. And just as you're kind of leaning over to read the words, you suddenly hear the door open up as it slams to the side, and in steps an individual. You kind of quickly turn back, and each of you can see this figure in a long blue overcoat with trimming of solid gold, hair of a peppered white and black, sideburns that come to meet in a heavy mustache, and a small tuft of white facial hair on his chin. As he steps in, a rapier tied to his side around a purple sash, he turns his head to the side and quickly looks over each of you. Well, quite the interesting group that we have here.
We've definitely heard that before.
I am sure that you have. And who do I have the pleasure of meeting?
Well, you did summon us, no? You don't know who we are.
Proper introductions are best to take place, no?
I suppose I can't argue with that. I'm Andari.
And I'm Ezra.
I usually go by Durizen.
And the monkey? Does he have a name?
I'm a goblin. I am Pats.
Pats.
As you kind of look at him, Pats, his gaze kind of stares through you, and it almost looks as if one eye doesn't seem completely focused. There's a bit of a haze to it, and you see the distant or kind of long healed scar that kind of stretches across that eye, and underneath the other you see a small tattooed pattern as his gaze looks across you, across each one of you.
Interesting. So you all are the cosmonauts that I have heard much about.
Why, yes, but now I assume it's polite that you tell us your name.
And maybe why you've decided to call us here?
Or even how you heard about us.
You want to know who I am? I am the Prince of the Crimson Sails, first god in the Order of Lhazaar. I am Oladra's right arm, master of the sea. Faithful lover to the one and only Madalena, I am the god's favorite son. I am called Zardos Zord, the captain of this vessel and proprietor of the Sea Maiden's Faire.
He kind of wanders over, kicking up his feet as he walks, and sits down at the edge of the table, kicking up his boots onto the table and leaning back into the chair.
As for why I have brought you here, I am intrigued, you could say. I have heard that individuals known as the cosmonauts had been making waves within the city. And so you were one of the individuals who I wanted to experience my Faire, to see all of the wonders that could be brought from the east.
I have to say I'm intrigued, but still hasn't quite answered our question as to what you want from us.
What do I want? I want you to have a good time, to enjoy the Faire. But these people who are unique, ones whose names come to me, I like to meet them, to see who they are as a person, to have a discussion with them. I like to understand those who I may converse with in the future.
Almost using it as an investment. Have we
If-
really caught your eye that much?
Until you walked in, my dear, none of you I knew more than a name, but the instant that you walked in, I knew that you had caught my eye.
And now,
said-
what exactly does that mean?
Just that she is a beautiful woman, and unfortunately, my heart is devoted to another. But perhaps a tryst, if you so desire.
I am sorry I asked.
I'm sorry you asked too, actually.
And what was this you said about potentially talking to us or conversing with us in the future? What did you mean by that?
This Faire, it is part of an initial development. I would like to make friends within the city, understand those of influence, or potential future influence. You are among the names on my list, so I have invited you here to understand if you are of a good disposition. Individuals of a valiant heart or criminals of a dark soul.
So you're testing us to see if we are of use to you.
Testing? No, nothing quite so trivial. I just would like to meet you, see who I am dealing with, to see what we may be able to work with in the future. If there is even any future arrangement. I just would like to get to know you as all.
You keep mentioning the future as if you already have something in mind, a plan. Something.
I have sailed all over the world with my floating carnival. Seen places that you could only imagine. Pulling places, items from those far off entities, bringing them along to show and share with the world. But this
Have you ever heard of a place called Lhazaar?
Ah, the island principalities to the northeast. I have sailed there often.
Tell me about. Have you heard of any like magic bones up in there, up in the ice?
I may be able to find the information that you seek. But as with all things, it will come with a cost.
I can pay a cost.
That is good to hear. Then I shall send my feelers out to see what information I can find.
Hmm.
As for the
So you-
rest of you, how have you come to this city?
search of stories, actually.
Well,
I've come searching for someone.
I
I
was left behind.
And I kind of just came to learn a little more about the world.
well, I am certain that you will find nothing more about the world in the city than within my Faire. As I have said before, it is a culmination of all the things from across the land, wrapped into one special intricacy. A place where your darkest nightmares come to life, where your loveliest dreams can be brought true, and where your wildest fantasy can become reality. I am sure that if you are looking for a person, that you will find some satisfaction somewhere in the carnival. And if you are searching for something past that, then perhaps I could be of assistance. I have ears and eyes among the city, attempting to find its local intricacies to join in the fair. And perhaps if I hear something about the person you are looking for, then we can come to some sort of agreement. Can you tell me anything about this person you search for?
If you can find anything on my daughter, it's a red dragonborn, there won't be many others around. I'd be willing to pay and do just about whatever you need done for that info.
Well, I would quite like to hear the story of how a dragonborn came out of a human.
Well, can't say I always look like this. Normally I'm much more handsome, see.
I used to tell my ex-wife the same thing.
No wonder he thought I was beautiful. Looks down, forgetting. Not usually the reaction I get.
Oh, and why is this?
I suppose not everyone has an eye like yours, do they?
My eyes see through all, my dear. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that you are the most beautiful thing to walk into my door in quite a few years. And you said you were here for stories. I can assure you that Lhazaar does have many stories to share.
Well, I don't discriminate on what kinds of stories. Anything interesting will do.
We come from a place to the east. A city known as Lakeside. It is removed from the world. Many people think of it as barbaric, but we are here to prove that it can have a more accommodating size than many people think. But there are many stories from my homeland that people would not understand. And one of them is that our soldiers, rather than riding on horses, they ride upon the back of great white bears with massive metallic armor with spikes. They carry long weapons. All of the creatures, all of the orcs from the mountains, they know not to mess with our warriors or they will fear the wrath of the bears. I have many more things to share if you would spend an evening with me.
And Ezra is just giving him dagger eyes right now and crossing her arms and being very grumpy.
His attention seems to be entirely focused on Nadari and not on anyone else.
No, I know, but just want to put that out there. Throw that vibe into the room.
Perhaps I should throw you a coin for your story, and you should go buy your wife some flowers.
A wife? Perhaps you misunderstand. I said ex-wife. I am not married.
Ezra just clears her throat very quietly.
Did you have something to say, my half-orc friend? You have quite a countenance upon your face, sir, right now.
No. Carry on. Just choose your words carefully.
Oh, I assure you, Zardar's sword exquisitely picks every word that is escaped from my mouth.
But I thought you were the faithful prince of the Crimson Sails. What happened to that? Just a story?
One of many.
Well, I am a fan of stories. I'm still not quite a fan of lies.
I have not told you a lie since you entered.
Oh, I'm sure. But you can't be too cautious, you know.
I suppose you have a point.
Some of the best stories come from strangers, but then again, if they're from strangers, who knows if they're true?
Many stories are ruined by tainting them with the facts. I find that a good story can capture the hearts and the attention, whether or not it is rooted in truth.
I suppose that is good to a point.
At this point, like, I imagine he's getting so friendly with Ndari that Cosmo is is kind of grumbling from out underneath her cloak a little bit. And he's ready to go, ape hamster shit if he has to.
But you did say that you brought us here to enjoy the carnival, no?
Indeed, I just wanted to meet you all first. Get to know you a bit before releasing you on your way. So please, if you want to get back to tonight's festivities, do not let me keep you. Though if I could encourage you to come visit me again.
I don't suppose you really like who I truly am.
I am sure, Nadari of Rendar, that I would quite enjoy who you are.
She sits there, like, frozen for a second.
Huh.
I enjoy a good story too, and there have been many that have reached me as of late.
All good, I hope.
Only the best.
Subjective, I suppose.
But please, if you would like to get back to the fair, don't let me keep you. And if you would like, take any bottles of wine that are left from this evening's feast. I will make sure that you get an invitation to the next one.
Why, thank you.
Oh boy, free wine!
You guys can see maybe half a dozen bottles, some of them still corked, but a
Jeez.
few of them half empty on the table.
I'll take the cork bottles. It's good
Durizen
cooking, okay?
Durizen will take the uncorked and start drinking.
A man after my own heart.
Boys.
Keep the flirting to Nadari, please.
You know what? Give me some of that. I'm gonna need that after watching some of that.
And Ezra grabs one of the other uncorked bottles and just takes a big ol' swig.
And Ndari just kind of backs up, looks at all of her companions just chugging wine, shakes her head, and then grabs Ezra by the arm like playfully, like, come on, friend, let's go. Like, emergency, get me out of here.
Hey, we still gotta see. We gotta go back to the. Oh god. Oh god. Hellraiser.
We have to go.
We've got a
where
show
now?
to watch. The Hellraiser.
Right, right.
All right. And so as you all kind of head towards the door, bottles in hand, kind of Ezra escorting Nadari out, you just see as Zara still sits, his feet kicked up on the table, and just kind of waves his fingers as you all exit. I look forward
take
to
one
meeting
last-
you all again.
Yeah, I'd like to take one last look backwards as we're leaving to see if I just see or notice anything or.
Yeah, Ezra does like the little 2 eyes to 2 eyes, like. I'm
watching
watching
you.
Yeah.
Once again, he doesn't seem to pay you much attention as his eyes are locked on Nadari. But Nadari, if you want to make me a perception check, you can.
All right.
Yeah, as you kind of look
Ooh.
back, you don't really notice anything out of the ordinary. I mean, the whole encounter was a little bit strange, but as he just kind of flashes you a quick smile, you see a glint of silver across his teeth, and you catch just one of the tooth is completely gilded in silver with a small insignia on it. And
Hey.
if I can actually
Ooh, do I get to know what that it looks like?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now to see if I have that or not. I don't know if I have. I don't think I have it on a handout, so I will just describe it. So yeah, as you kind of catch this small flash, you do see that it does appear to be some sort of almost mask-like symbol. It almost appears to be like that of a carnival mask. Actually, somewhat similar to the one that was on the flyer.
Okay. But yeah, I'll kind of be quiet as we're all getting out of there. And I'm very much just like, I don't want to say nestled, but like wrapped around Ezra's arm.
Yeah,
Right.
Ezra's got her arm around her shoulders, absolutely.
And as you escort Nadari out back onto the ship, the same woman in the red dress meets you. Did you have I hope you had a enlightening conversation.
That's one word for it.
Please, these sailors will take you back. Once you pass onto the ship, I will dispel the illusions around you.
So I thought the deal was to remove the illusions once we got to the quarters. What happened to that?
No, it was after you got off the boat. Or ship, rather.
Must have remembered wrong.
Please. And she kind of waves a hand down to... You see the gangplank extended, the railing along it down to the rowboat that still sits on the side of the ship.
All right, I think it's high time we head back, and then Ezra will kind of help Andari down into the boat, rowboat.
He knew my full name. I didn't say it.
I know.
Yeah,
That's-
I think he knew a lot he wasn't letting on about.
There's
Yeah, that guy was creepy, but we got free wine out of it.
I just hope it doesn't get you too sick in the morning.
It'll be fine. I told him I'd show up in the late morning. Afternoon's late morning, right? Basically same thing.
Close enough.
Time is relative.
All right. So as you all pack into this rowboat once more and begin to head off towards the Hellraiser to experience the nightlife of the fair, that is where we will leave off for this week and pick up next week. And so join us next week as we get back to this adventure, see what the Sea Maiden's Fair and the Hellraiser truly has to offer. And you can tune into the next episode of Dragon's Heist, 6 p.m. Central next Tuesday. And we'll see you guys there.